Once upon a time, there was a man, and his name was Jerome Lancer. Jerome had a really big hat. It was so big he couldn't do anything. He couldn't go to a swimming pool. How does he get in the pool? He couldn't go. He'd get in like this. Well, he could go, but it'd be difficult. So he'd be getting into his little pyjamas, getting them off, getting into his swimming costume, not his pyjamas, getting them off, and then he'd get in the swimming pool, and he'd make sure he had to swim like this. Don't get the hat wet, Jerome Lancer. How else? What else did he do? He went to, like on the bus. How does he do that? How does he get on the bus? Jerome Lancer gets onto a bus. He gets up to the door. The door's open. The person's in there waiting to get his ticket. Jerome, he gets in like this. He gets down to his chair. He says, "Just a single, please." And he takes his ticket. Jerome Lancer's favourite thing to do every day was to go to a cafe. Similar story, he goes into the cafe, he goes into the door. Jerome Lancer's got such a big hat on, such a big hat. He finds his chair, he says, "Look, I'm just going to order from here, okay?" The thing about Jerome Lancer, is that everybody, they laugh at him, they mock him, they say, "Why has Jerome Lancer got such a big hat?" And he says, "I don't mind, I'm just Jerome Lancer, and I don't ask questions about things like that. I just wear my hat." One day, Jerome Lancer goes to his normal cafe with his big hat on, and he sits in his normal chair, and he orders his normal tea cake, and he orders his normal cup of milk, and he says, "Thank you, waiter, so kind of you." And a little boy comes up to Jerome Lancer, a little boy like this, and he gathers the strength, let's call him Mick. He gathers the strength to talk, and he says, "Jerome, why have you got such a big hat on?" Oh, and Jerome Lancer says, "Finally, someone asked me some questions that aren't just mockery." And he sits in his chair, Jerome Lancer, and he says, "I'll tell you why. Because my head is full to bursting with ideas." "Ideas," says the little boy. "Ideas," says Jerome Lancer. "Ideas," says the little boy. "Ideas," says Jerome Lancer. He says, "Well, why don't you just take it off?" He says, "Because I can't take it off, because then my ideas would be let out, and I can't do that." And the little boy said, "Why can't you do that, Jerome Lancer?" And the Jerome Lancer says, "Because my ideas, when I was just your age, I was told they were silly." And the little boy says, "That's so sad." And Jerome Lancer says, "I know, that's so sad, isn't it? That's so sad to be told such a thing." And the little boy says, "Well, Jerome, why don't you just take it off? And I don't think your ideas are silly." And he says, "Not now, little boy." And the little boy goes home. And the little boy thinks, and the little boy thinks, and the little boy the next day goes back to the cafe. Jerome Lancer is sitting in the same place, in the same table, eating the same tea cake and the same cup of milk. And the little boy says, "Look, I've been thinking, Jerome, and I think you should take it off, and I think your ideas aren't silly. And that must be heavy, that hat. It must make your day difficult." And Jerome says, "Oh, I'm having a thought." And he thinks, and you can see he's thinking, and then his hat seems to get bigger, and it seems to get a little bit bigger. And Jerome says, "There's just another thought there." And the little boy says, "Can I hear what it is?" And he says, "No." And the same thing happens the next day. The boy goes home, the boy thinks. He comes back the next day. This is it. He says, "Come on, Jerome, let's see inside the hat. Come on, Jerome, let's see inside the hat." And everyone in the cafe joins in. "Jerome, Jerome, let's see inside the hat. Come on, Jerome, let's see inside the hat." And people bring out tea cakes and cups of milk, and suddenly Jerome is surrounded by tea cakes and cups of milk. And he says, "Okay, fine, but you're going to have to be ready. You're going to have to be steady, because..." And then he begins to take off his hat. Ooh, and he begins to take off his hat. Ooh, and out come ideas, and ideas, and ideas, and ideas, and ideas, and whoosh, ideas like this. What if we have marshmallow shoes, and then when we were finished with them, we just cook them and eat them? And ideas like this. Maybe we can make jackets made of chocolate, and then when it melts off, well, then we can all just be naked. Or ideas like this. Maybe the government could actually subsidise solar panels so that everyone could have free energy. And ideas like this, like this, like this. And ideas are spilling out, and ideas are spilling out of him, and everybody's going, "Whoa, Jerome! Whoa, Jerome, those ideas are a bit silly." Jerome he reaches for his hat and he begins to put it back on. And he's like, I knew it. Shh. And just as it's about to go on the top of his head, the little boy darts in, smashes the hat and says, no, Jerome, the ideas are happy out of the bag. And Jerome starts to cry a little bit. He says, thank you, little boy. I know they're silly, but sometimes things are good to think out loud, aren't they? And the little boy says, yes, Jerome. And from that day forward, every Monday afternoon, Jerome and the little boy would meet and they would discuss ideas. And sometimes Jerome would have to wear his hat when his ideas were feeling a bit big and a bit full. And then they would meet, and they would release ideas. And you never know, one day